That's fine.
After you've read all 40,000 words of that.
Tonight is the Athens City Council committee meetings. The first committee to me meeting is the Planning and Development Committee. I have one agenda item, and it's to discuss the business code update for sweepstakes and internet cafes regulations. We actually, this has been brought up by the Planning Commission and in another committee meeting, and it's multiple pages, 12 pages, and basically what it aims to do is to augment the zoning code to help regulate business in the business code chapter 11, sweepstakes and internet cafes. And basically it mirrors all the other sort of regulations that we have for various businesses pertaining to definitions, various fees, licenses, how you transfer the license, how much the licenses cost, revocation of licenses, and those sort of things. Right now in our zoning code, in our business code, we don't have anything that pertains to internet cafes and sweepstakes cafes, and so this is new definitions and new regulations for this sort of business. We have talked about this. It kind of goes along with the zoning code that we have talked about last week that was introduced as a first reading. I did not print it out for everybody because I have sent it out as a link, and I will send it out as a link again to email. So, questions? Oahu?
Yeah, we rarely come up with brand new legislation. Is this based on any particular model?
This is similar to other business regulations that we have in town. Also on, the planner had looked at other cities that have done this. The state is also right now looking at internet cafes, and so this may be augmented when the state comes forward with new regulations and such. I think that's something that you should specifically look at is how much the licenses cost per establishment and per unit, whatever it's called. I want to say a computer terminal, but that's probably not what the jargon is it?
It says computer terminal in the
It's a
original. There are some parking requirements depending on computer terminal, I think.
Yes. And that was in the zoning code.
Yes.
So.
One for each computerized sweepstakes device. How's that sound?
Yes. So.
And also, I'm clear about this, but people out there may not be. This is really not for, if a coffee shop wants to offer internet access, this is for gambling, basically gambling facilities that would be established.
Yes. I think the nomenclature of what they call themselves is very misleading, because when I first looked at this, when this came out a year and a half ago, when you look at internet cafes like in Southeast Asia, they're always like a coffee house and you can get Wi-Fi. That's not what these are. These are definitely, that's one reason why the state is specifically looking at these, because there is some question about whether they are indeed gambling facilities, and so I think that we want to be ahead of the game and not wait for the state to do the regulations. That's why we've been going forward with the zoning ordinances that we put forward last week and the business regulations.
As you stated, it really falls in that gray area between a computer internet cafe and a gambling system. It's considered a sweepstakes system where you buy some time and you get onto a sweepstakes. So therefore, it's not really gambling, because like any sweepstakes, there's always a chance of winning. You just have to enter, I believe. This again will complement the Title 23, which is the Planning Commission's purview, and this will be in Chapter 11. You say there's a link, and that will be on the city website, I assume, or?
I can put it or the person who could...
We can get,
I can-
we'll work on getting
we can
that
put it on.
our front
That's
page so
fine.
people can look at it.
Yes. So,
So
Mr.
does,
Jones?
does this amend what we just did at first reading? And
No, this is for
No.
Chapter 11. The first reading that we did last week is Chapter 23. They're kind of a
Okay.
suite of,
Okay.
so, it's the placement, Chapter 23, placement, those sort of things, zoning. This will be more regulation of business operations.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Mr. Sands, you had a miscellaneous?
I have actually two miscellaneous. The Service Safety Director requested that we discuss a couple planning for finance issues that we didn't have on the agenda, so we're coming in under miscellaneous here. First of all, she's asking that we consider adding to the $15,000 to the recreation fund for chemicals for the swimming pool. It's something we do at this time of year always, so it's nothing new. Something new, it would be $6,500 to the cable access fund through the government channel for a dedicated connection with Time Warner to aid in continuous connectivity for the police and fire services. This would be a $500 installation, $500 per month for a 5-year contract is where the $6,500 comes in. This is what she gave me. We can certainly talk about it more at first reading.
It's too bad that Time Warner won't, donate that time. It seems $500 is pretty minimal for Time Warner. It's just a suggestion.
I think this is really part of a backup system. Again, our internet system goes through some of the university portions, and there's been bandwidth issues, and this becomes a question of do we want a backup, a complement just in case. And I think that's the dialogue that's been going back and forth. If we're really trying to step up and make a modern police force and fire force with computers on board, cruises, then this gives us a chance to actually have that bandwidth when required.
It'd still be nice if they donated it.
It would be, but, okay. This is the proposal. Okay, again, which we will talk about next week. Thank you.
Next week is
Or at the first meeting in June.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you're having a meeting next Monday, I believe.
Probably not. So that's my miscellaneous.
It's okay. Then any other miscellaneous for development?
I will mention that I wrote a letter of support for Mr. Spezzer for his extension on his annexation.
Right.
There was an issue out there that he was worried about the time it's taking to get the next 30 acres annexed in, so I've done that, just so you know.
Great. And I think that's great because we would, as I think council has indicated, we'd like to see both those pieces go forward simultaneously.
Okay.
So
We're trying to help out.
And when is the next town hall meeting?
Well, let's see, what's the next one, second, first?
June 28th.
That
So-
far away, huh? June
Yep.
28th.
So just to remind people, actually, they are taking questions right now.
Oh,
for-
town hall meeting, you mean?
Town hall meeting.
Oh, okay, I thought you said council meeting. Okay.
No.
Yes.
Which is, many times it has a lot to do with planning and development, so I would encourage people to look at the city website so that they can put their questions in.
And the January town hall meeting had some questions. We had some policy statements as well. Some of those we'll be able to address, some we won't, because they weren't really in the form of a question.
Right. So, seeing nothing else, I call this committee meeting adjourned.
Transportation Committee, we have 3 items tonight. The first of which is an authorization ordinance that we'll bring to council next week to spend $475,000 for the construction of Circle Drive. And $400,000 of that will come from the Appalachian Regional Commission grant money. And then the remaining $75,000 will come from a combination of street rehab and possibly state highway and state wheel tax funds. So we'll draw from those sources. The second item that we'll be bringing up next, or when council next meets, is an ordinance for the disposition of our old fire truck. And in this particular case, what we'll be doing is authorizing to dispose of it to other governmental agencies or nonprofit organizations. Due to the cost of our new fire truck, we're hoping that we can perhaps get some money from purchase or sale, or else a trade-in. So, and then the third item is that we will be, the city will be posting the summer paving bid for the street rehabilitation, our annual paving that's based on our street tour that we go on each year, and then the street department determining which roads need to be fixed. We've got the list. Director of Public Works distributed that today, so I'll have some available here tonight, and we'll also make that listing available on the website. It's a draft. There are about 10 streets that are listed, and there is an alternate list of if there are funds available. But there will be, just very briefly, portions of West Washington Street, West Union, Schaefer, Briarwood, Home Street, Maplewood, Coss, East Union, Verona, the West State Bike Path Spur, the Service Garage Lot, and they'll be doing some city-wide crack and seal repairs on different roads, applying about 15,000 pounds of hot applied crack seal. And then we'll be doing the drive and the east parking lot at the community center. Mayor Weil.
Okay, just to back up for a second for the Circle Drive. Eventually, there is a discussion of donated parts of the right-of-way for Circle Drive. Eventually, you will have to probably adopt an ordinance accepting those pieces when all the paperwork's done.
Okay.
The other thing, of course, of how much of the alternate gets done is contingent upon the cost of the bid, as well as asphalt and all the other material. I notice on this list we do not have, this is a regular one, it does not include Mill Street, of course, which is going to be worked on this summer, nor the Carriage Hill Bridge. So those are two
separate projects.
Separate projects, but they're related in terms of streets and transportation.
Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Leslie. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe when we did our tour, there was discussion of Richland Avenue also receiving some attention. I know it is on the alternate list here, and I believe that Public Works Director Stone had mentioned that we might be able to make a thin layer of asphalt now, knowing that in a year or two we're going to be really tackling the other end of Richland Avenue with a long-term plan and more comprehensive.
That's correct. That's a good comment. This crew is planning to address some of the worst problems on Richland Avenue. I'm not sure at this point if it's going to be, last word I heard is that the most significant problems along the street will be looked at. So, and they've already been out doing some more of the hot asphalt this past week, and I know it's helped. They've been able to take the cones, the orange barrels out of the street for a while, so that's an improvement.
Yeah, you know how.
But we appreciate everybody's patience, and just as a reminder, we do have design and engineering costs right now, so we are developing a long-range plan for some improvements to Richland Avenue from the roundabout down to what's referred to as the South Y, the intersection of Route 50 and the old Pomeroy Road, and looking at curbs, looking at access management, looking at utilities, sidewalks, improvements for bicyclists and pedestrians. So it's part how much do we do now? You're right, knowing that in a few years we're going to have to we will be able to do the major improvements. Any miscellaneous items for transportation?
No.
Our committee stands adjourned.